Hello friends, neighbors, John your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome down the Nook, welcome to Saturday, and we're going to talk some blended Scotch. These are actually pretty humble bottles. They come in at like 34 bucks Canadian regular price, but they do have an age stamp, and I really respect what Dewar is doing, and they can give a pretty good idea of what different casks can do to blended Scotch. Now these are humble, these aren't going to blow anyone away. As I said, they're very affordable, so don't expect too much. But we're going to talk about, really focus on this one, but actually I'll go through all three that I have here. This is Dewar's Japanese Smooth, and they've finished their blend in Mizunara casks. And Mizunara casks are, that oak from Japan, tough to work with, expensive to use, and yet here it is on a $34 bottle. Then I'll talk about this Ilegal Smooth. This is finished in mezcal casks. And then I actually have a little sample, so I poured it, and I've talked to you guys before about it. The Dewar's Caribbean Smooth, so that's rum cask. So Mizunara from Japan, mezcal from Mexico, and rum from the Caribbean. Pour something from the series if you have, and if you don't, pour whatever you want to hit a note. You have a tequila mezcal, I know they're different, finish, a rum finish, or a Mizunara cask finish. Why do you pour that? Come on back, and we'll just sip together. 3, 4. Thanks for joining me. As I said, we're going to focus, or at least start with this Japanese Smooth. This Japanese Smooth doesn't say how long it's finished, but it's in this 8-year series, which means all the stuff in here can't be younger than 8 years. But it's blended. We've got grain whiskeys for sure and malt whiskeys. The way Dewar's typically does that is they age their grain and their malt separately in casks. Then they blend them, they marry them, or kind of age a little bit in a cask there, and then they might have a finish. Typically, it's tough to get the very specifics on this. It's easier to get it on some of their older stuff, their 21-year-old, 32-year-old, that kind of stuff. You can kind of get it very detailed what's going on. Here it's a little less detailed, but they're all 40%. This one is as well. And it's this one, the focus that we're talking about here after the grain and the malt and then the blending and then together, and whether it's ex-bourbon or ex-sherry, I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. It is finished in this Mizunara cask. Now, their tasting notes are tough for me to link to. So I'm going to see what I can get out of this blended Scotch with that expensive Japanese oak on the nose. Actually, kind of matches. Light, sweet, floral. Not very distinct. A little bit of very ripe fruit. So it's just that sweet ripe fruit. I can't really pull out which fruit. And I'm nosing a note that I'm already, I'll see if it comes up in the palate, but I've had it a couple of times now. It is a little funky, but I don't know how to get into that funky, like musty, a little bit already in the nose. So it's quite sweet and floral and just like ripe fruit, and then there is a little mustiness to it. Let's go into the palate. Sláinte. I think it's in the palate for me that this becomes an interesting blend. I don't want to harp on the price, but especially at that price point. For me, this grain malt blend finished in Mizunara, I keep saying that, I'm sure wrong, has a really nice oaky, light oaky, sweet palate. Lots of grain going on in here, but not in a bad way. Doesn't really coat that much. Finish isn't very long, but the palate has some unique, I tried to really think about what is the muskiness that I'm getting off this Scotch. And it's not funky like light peat, like Campbelltown, nothing like that. It's funky like, I don't know if I heard someone talk about this that way, but like a little bit fermented, like a yogurt. Like it's got a little yogurty nature to it. And I want to say I get that in Mizunara cask, which is really neat that I can get it off even this entrance bottle. It can be overpowering. There was a Teeling whiskey that Andrew shared with me that, you know, honestly tasted like a, not quite a blue cheese, but like a really weird cheese, moldy, that kind of pungent, you know, almost toe fungus, not that bad, but like that kind of stuff. I was like, whoa, that was a definite ride. This isn't anywhere near that, but there's just edges of that. You know, like a mushroom umami. I'm trying to get like at a kind of a yogurt. Like there's something else going on, and I can already get it in this 8-year-old. How do I like it? Well, we're going to go through 2 more in this series. I'll come back with how I rank it across these series. If you've never had Mizunara cask, this might give you a glimpse, but it might not. It might just taste like a little bit oakier Scotch blend, because that's kind of what it's like. Anyways, not bad. Next on the comparison is this Ilegal Smooth. Now, my understanding is Ilegal is a group, company, a distillery, spirits group. I don't know where the label is. That you know, puts out mezcal, and I am not in any way a tequila nor mezcal connoisseur. I might have it if a friend pours it for me, but other than that, I really don't even buy it. But this, again, is in this series. So it's the same, or we are led to believe the same 8-year blend. Grain, malt, ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, whatever they do to get it into this. This is now our malt. And then they finish it in mezcal cask. You know, that's that roasted agave heart, under the earth, pull it out. It's really, really cool. And I have definitely talked to you guys about mezcal, the Dewar's mezcal before. But let's see today in this flight with you right now what I get on the nose. So here actually I get higher caramel sugars, which is interesting. And then I get smokier herbal notes. So this is actually really living up to its name, smooth. To me, this is smooth. It's actually fairly balanced. It's just really a Scottish blend with a little bit of funky oak in it. This, all of that, except it's sweeter, like a little more sweet caramel, and it's slightly smokier. All right, let's get it on the palate. Sláinte. This is an interesting dram for me. It is herbaceous and earthy and a little bit bitter, a bit drying on the back end, and a little bit bitter. I know I just said that, but I just want to say, you know, all of these, none of these are going to turn any connoisseur Scotch drinkers to say, these are amazing. These are, you know, screw top bottles, fairly affordable, but I'm impressed of the difference between these two. I might have to taste my way back through, because I'll tell you, before I sat down live here today, I was going to reveal that this is my favorite. There's something really interesting, smoky, I keep using the same terms, but there's something about this that has made me really happy to have it on the shelf. Today, a little bit more integrated, a little bit more probably approachable, is actually the Japanese Smooth. Let's go to rum next. So the next one that I have in the series, and the only reason why I have it is because it came attached to this bottle. And this one I went out and bought another one after I bought that, because in the past I've not minded having that on the shelf. This is Caribbean Smooth, and I know there's really no hope of a bottle shot, I don't think, on that one. Again with this, grain, malt, 40%. Likely a combination of ex-bourbon and ex-sherry, and then finished. Couldn't find, oh, is this the one that I could find? Yes, this one actually says 4 to 5 months in Caribbean rum cask. So it's nice that they actually said the length of finishing. With these ones, I think I just found, you know, finished in. How long? Like poured through? I don't know. Anyways, this is their Caribbean rum, Caribbean Smooth 8-year. Anyways, on the nose. Boy, you know, especially sitting in the series, and I have not done this. I have not shot them against each other. I haven't even done it for fun. This one is sugary, cane sugar. I mean, I know this, like, yeah, we're talking rum, and I hate to say it, but it is absolutely sweeter on the nose. And if I'm being like, well, yeah, but it's a Scotch, okay. So I'm gonna say sweeter and not cane sugar, but sweeter, little bit cooked, a little bit burnt, a little bit browned sugar. So it's kind of coming together. But it is so much sweeter on the nose. This is bitter and vegetable. And this, just now, quite floral. Not quite potpourri, that really puts me off. But really, really quite floral. Okay, back into the rum. I don't think I've had it with you yet. It's not jam. Very rum-like. Very, it's a bit bitter. It's sugary. It's, if you love rum, you might like this. I can get behind some really interesting aged rums, but in general, like the entrance rum that you might be having, I really don't like. And so I'm gonna say right now, like this is really not my favorite. I'm glad it was a sample that came with it. I'm glad I didn't feel like, oh, I better buy another bottle to share with you, because like I don't like this. This is 2.5, maybe 3 stars. If you like rum, maybe, but I really don't like this. Today, I'm fighting myself over what these are. I think critically, this is like none of these can get over 3.5. They just can't. They're grainy. They're blended. They have short finishes. They're just not gonna impress anyone. But boy, I gotta try another sip of this and this. I think I might be changing my mind live with you guys. Coming in, I would have said, sure, let's give them both 3.5 stars. Star rating is not going to help us here. I thought I liked the smoky, vegetable, smoldery a little bit here. This one right now up here is living up more to its name. It's more integrated. It's smoother. It's a little bit oakier, a little funky, which I like. So it's not just oakier. It's got a little something. And the nose is really quite nice. So I might be preferring this Japanese smooth with you today. Having said that, tasting back through, I must say, and I'm worried that my palate's been corrupted by this one, which I really don't like. Actually, it's got to go back down to 2.5. I just really can't recommend this one. Each one of these is picking up a little bit of a bitter note that I don't have it really remembering. So I don't know, like if this is just like tainted my palate, and that can happen, or what. Either way, I will say, if you just want to see what casks do, you know, this really tells you what a very heavy sweet rum cask can do. This definitely is an interesting mezcal. This gets me notes of Mizunara Oak, Japanese oak, very expensive and hard to work with, even in a very affordable dram. The Portuguese one, the one that's finished in port, also not bad at all. Like in terms of like, oh, this is a bit what port can do to whiskey. So I'm glad this series exists. I am. Stephanie McLeod, I think, is really doing some unique things, and I welcome this and would wonder that if someone new to Scotch, just tasting a few blends, tries a few of these and goes, oh, cask finishing, and then they're going to take it to the next level. And I think that's a great place for this affordable blended Scotch to be. Thank you for joining me here. What are your thoughts across this series? Share them below. Get in the conversation.